often said that you're not really yourself when you win. Like, you only really show who you truly are as a person when you have not just a defeat, but like the most demoralizing, crushing, soul-destroying defeat that you can possibly imagine. Well, anyway, who you are at that moment is ultimately who you are as a human being. I've always sort of subscribed to that ethos. And obviously, as a Raider fan, I am at that moment. Raiders fall to 6-8 following a 2017 loss against the Cowboys on Sunday night. So yeah, the best they can hope for is to break even. So not mathematically eliminated from the playoffs quite yet, but they will be by the time Week 16 is over, just the way the math's going to shake out. It's an absolute long shot, microscopic, the Raiders make the playoffs. So yeah, season's pretty much over, and it ends in, two of the most heartbreaking ways imaginable. I mean, we're going to get into the postcard, but, you got to talk about Derek Carr. This guy on 4th down, who's going for the touchdown, who makes enough to get the first down. I mean, he's still got plenty of time on the clock. But he goes and he tries to reach for the pylon, and he gets hit the very last second. And when he does, he fumbles the ball. The ball flies out of the end zone, and it's a touchback for Dallas, and the game is over. There is this great quote Chris Collinsworth said during the game where he's like, I bet Derek Carr, he's going to be thinking about this one all night. He's going to see the sunrise. And I'm pretty sure it's exactly what he did. It's been a disappointing season, a really, really disappointing way to, wrap up your postseason dreams. There's so many things that went awry for this team, but at least, they go with a little bit of dignity. You fought hard. You gave Dallas everything. And, the postcard thing, the measurement, whatever. The fact of the matter is I was still late in the game, and the Raiders had the opportunity to storm back and seal the deal. But you know what? Fluky things happen. It's a great metaphor for life. Sometimes you try to, reach a little bit further and seal the deal and, make the magical comeback and do everything on yourself, and it ends up costing you everything. I hate it when football imitates life. That's all I can say. Alright, so statistically, Derek Carr, 21 for 38, 171 yards, 2 touchdowns. Marshawn Lynch, 16 carries, 76 yards. Ultimately, they had 122 yards compared to 126 for the Cowboys, so it's kind of a break-even thing. And obviously, Alfred Morris had less yards than Marshawn Lynch. So Lynch has been actually playing very well, a whole lot more consistent heading down the stretch than he did at the beginning of the season, so we can all be happy about that. And of course, Dak Prescott, 18 for 27, 212 yards, 1 rushing touchdown, but no passing touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. So there's that. Both collected by Sean Smith, I believe, who almost had a pick six if he wasn't touched on the chin strap, which would have won the game. But we don't worry about these things. It's out of our control. It's happened. It's the past. It's done, man. It's done. So all you gotta do is just move along. See, this is not just about the Raiders. This is about life in general. You can see a lot of metaphorical content here as we just ruminate our abject failures in existence. Oh, another thing about the passing game, or not the passing, the running game. Dallas had 2 scores running the ball, so something the Raiders couldn't do. They got, well, no, they only got 4 less yards than the Cowboys, but you know what I mean. So yeah, receiving, Seth Roberts. Of course, there was no Amari Cooper in the backfield, so Roberts came up. He was targeted 5 times, got 3 receptions, 52 yards. Michael Crabtree with his 2 touchdowns. Pretty happy about that. Very consistent. Definitely our best receiver by far. Marshawn Lynch got a couple of carries. You had Cordarrelle Patterson, who had the kick return for 100 yards that was called back, so that cost us. And overall, I mean, he's getting really, really good. Like, you're seeing like his average turns get longer and longer to the point where he might actually be able to like break off like a 50-yard chunk. Like, he did that towards the end of the game too, so that's very good. Hopefully we keep him around and he improves upon that. So yeah, not a whole lot to say. Dez Bryant and Jason Witten looking pretty good. Tight end's been beating us all season long, so no surprise they did it again this time. But of course, it's not all, circuses and sunshine. The Raiders did make a lot of miscues. They had 4 fumbles, lost one of them. So the turnover margin was not as good as it should have been. Defensively, Sean Lee did very, very good for Dallas with 10 total tackles. A good quarterback hit there. Navarro Bowman really playing like one of the best defenders we have. Certainly bringing a little bit of life to the linebacking core. Bruce Irvin had a pretty good game as always. Khalil Mack got, what was it, two sacks off Dak Prescott. Always good to see that. Of course, Sean Smith got the 2 interceptions. So, yeah, some decency. I mean, the defense, I think, is playing way, way, way better now than it did at the beginning of the season. So, we can take a little bit of solace in that. Also, we got Donald Penn getting injured. Haven't really heard much about that, so he might be out. Probably out until next season, most likely. Getting some good numbers out of Nicholas Morrow, though. I'm impressed by his performance. T.J. Carroll's had an interception. So the secondary, certainly lower tier in the NFL, but they had a fairly good showing overall. All things taken into consideration. I'm not going to complain too much about that. So, and Tavaccio, he missed that one field goal that would have made it a tie game. So you'd look at all the different ways the Raiders lost this game, all the things that went awry. You had the kick return that was called back. You had Tavaccio going for the field goal that whiffed. You had the index card. And then, of course, you had the big heartbreaker with Derek Carr going for the pylon at the end. Just every way that you can have a heartbreaking end to a season we experienced in this game. But, it was exciting. A heartbreaker. You win some, you lose some. But, hopefully this kind of becomes a fuel. This kind of a thing where, next year we'll have an improved secondary. We can bolster linebacking. I mean, the big problem all year round, of course, has been what else to drop passes. So, yeah, it's going to be a long couple of months, but, we'll get through it. We'll just, bide our time and, fall. It's going to get here sooner than later. It's not quite September 2018 yet, but can't get here fast enough. Don't know what else to say. That's just life. It's not always happy. You don't always get what you want. And sometimes you spend December crying in your beer. Or in my case, my Starbucks Espresso because I don't drink. But maybe I should, considering what the team's been playing lately. Alright, well that's it. That's the final from Week 15. Cowboys 20, Raiders 17. Raiders more or less officially eliminated from playoff contention, if not mathematically, then at least realistically. And that's all she wrote for 2017. I'll be seeing you next week, kids, but my heart's not going to be in it. Just like the team's been playing all year round.